welcome to yet another edition of the Correct Point podcast. This being episode number 17. It's my and Pranay's honor to be speaking to a very fine gentleman from our country itself, Aditya Kumar, the founder of Cairo Sports, a versatile sports content platform. Hi Aditya, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dev and Pranay.
Hi,
I hope
Aditya,
you guys are
welcome.
doing well. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing well post-COVID.
Yeah, fantastic. Man.
In terms of body weight, we are just keeping the video till the neck, so otherwise everything is fine.
Yeah,
Dave
same with
is
everyone.
actually increasing the weight of his articles, which is always so encouraging.
Yeah, I just saw the post as in some time back. He wrote around how many articles till date, as in the month, how much it is?
It's surely 10 times his weight, Aditya. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
Only if you measure it in grams. But on to more serious things. So for our listeners, Aditya is a quiet and cerebral person, somebody who's a bit like Kimi, doesn't speak much unless and until spoken to. But when he does, he almost always makes the point when it comes to sports, which is what our conversations are mostly about. So today, me and Pranay are not going to grill, but just simply interact, Aditya, with all things cricket. And what can be the best way to begin than by asking Aditya whether Pujara is going to save his career and reach the 3-figure marks today, Aditya?
Well, I hope he does, because if, as in Pujara and Kohli stays for a little while, I guess India should be able to do something better. As until yesterday, we were saying that there is no chance of winning. Today, I think if Kohli and Pujara bats for a little while and you have Pant, Rahane there, so I just believe that good things can happen today.
Great. So just to go more into this detail, so was he really that, according to you, that bad in terms of his approach to the series that had the 91 not out, which we are seeing so far, not have happened, he would have been dropped? Or you think the team would have given him one more test?
I don't think, the pressure would have been huge, so I think he would have been made a scapegoat for sure. And he was not performing as well, I guess. The reason being, I think his last notable contribution, last century, I would say, he keeps on scoring 45. So we should not take any credit away from him. But last century, I guess, was 3-4 years back, I think, in Australia, isn't it? So, and yesterday's inning was not like Pujara's usual inning, I think he was under the pressure. And he was playing shots, how many times have you seen him playing pull shots? He played two, one to reach his 50 and one afterwards. He also played a score, I guess.
One to put the umpire down when he pulled it.
Okay, yeah, I did not see, but yeah, to score, I think it was 46 to 50, and afterwards also he attempted a pull or something. Yeah. And he also played something over the third man, I guess, that ramp shot. So yeah, that also was something notable, so it was a different Pujara yesterday. So I hope he continues like that, because the intent was there from the initial, from the ball one. And I think even Anderson did him some favor by bowling on the pads. So I think 14 of 14 is quite unusual for Pujara.
Yeah, actually. So yeah, I've seen overnight the number of tweets comparing this particular partnership to Dravid and Lakshman's Kolkata efforts in 2001. Yeah. Those tweets have only increased, and they are wanting that kind of a revival. But what realistically are our chances if we, for example, escape with a draw? Is the series still in our hands, or do you feel that England are overpowering us because of the bowling talent?
I think India's bowling is better at the moment, and so it will be well contested series. If their batsmen again come and join the party, because when they batted, the conditions suited them. And you see, India was under the pump here, and they are batting well because the conditions are not that bad. But on the day one, the conditions did not suit India, and 3-4 wickets down, and you are always in trouble, especially when you are just playing with 5 batsmen. And Rishabh Pant is a bit of gamble all the time, because he will keep playing shots. So in these conditions, it becomes a little challenging for a player like him, what to do and what not to do. So,
great.
Aditya, in terms of speaking on Pujara, so when you're out of form as an analyst or as an expert, do you think attacking is the best way to come back into form?
I don't think so. As in for Pujara, I don't think it is the best way, but it's not always about attacking. It's about the positive intent. If you see yesterday, if there was anything on the pads, he was trying to score runs. And I also mentioned as in he was pulling the ball, which is very rare. So that means intent was to score and not to stay. And that is the
Right.
major difference that we see yesterday with the Pujara that we saw for over the last 2-3 years. As in he was staying on the wicket, but in his own shell, as in he was not scoring at all. He was just focusing on staying there. So the intent is very important. In fact, in this innings, as in if you see the England batting, from the first ball itself, they were willing to take singles and doubles, as in they were intent on scoring from the ball one. And that is what the difference was, as in between the English side, as in of the second test or first test, and now, because Root wanted support, and it was because of the intent which was missing initially, and now, as in with Hamid and other people, as in they played really nicely, as in they started scoring. So the intent should be there, and if you are intent on scoring, as in 2 or 3 balls on pads, and you start feeling good, and then obviously runs automatically flow. Because Pujara settled after that, as in he was 14 of 14, and then few more boundaries, and then he settled down, and their strike rate came down to 50 in the later part of yesterday. As in initially it was around 65, 66, which is the rate which I think even Tendulkar and others in the peak played with. So that is what mattered yesterday, and I hope he continues like that.
Right. You mentioned about Joe Root and the kind of contribution he's had in the team. It's been a stellar year, isn't it, for the English captain? 6 Test centuries, 3 of which are against India, and let's not forget that he started with a double century in India, which was earlier this year. In the peak summers in the country, and since then he would not score a single 50. So I think all of that vengeance with which he was wanting to hit runs has now come back, and that too at peak time for Joe Root. What do you have to say?
Well, with Root, I guess, I mean, he was always contributing. As in, the problem with Root was that he was scoring 70s, 80s, 90s, and he was getting out. But now he has started to convert those innings. That's the only change I would say. I mean, technically, he's still as good as he was a couple of years back, and he keeps on making adjustments for these. Series by series, he will just keep minor changes, and then that works out well. And this time, as in everyone is talking about his side-on play, which I think as in is better suited for his game, and he's able to manage a lot of things which other batsmen are not able to do.
Can we say Joe Root is the root problem of India's bowling this year? Is it safe to say that?
Sorry, I did not get you.
I'm saying, is it safe to say that Joe Root is the root of India's problem this year when it comes to scoring?
Obviously, as in obviously, as in he has been scoring runs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I mean, we can always say, as in with India, I mean, we have seen one particular batsman will keep on troubling for the whole series. As in earlier, it was, if you see even Zimbabwe, it was Andy Flower. As in Australia, you can name Matthew Hayden was there in that series. So you will keep on, as in one player, obviously, as in comes and plays and scores heavily actually. So this time it is Root.
I remember from the West Indies end, it was always Chandrapal.
Yeah, Chandrapal is someone as in who is not spoken of that much, but as in he was exceptional.
He was exceptional. You're right. Right.
You know,
So,
Aditya, the
Aditya,
guy on the other side of the screen has spoken brilliantly on Chandrapal. You should catch that episode of ours. Because I think very few people have actually done a podcast on Chandrapal. And I've had the fortune to do one with Dave. So you should definitely check that out.
Yeah, Dave is a great fan of West Indian cricket, and he keeps on writing on West Indies.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And he's
So
getting
I will-
recognition there. So that's fantastic. He's getting
I will check
recognition in
that
the
video for
Caribbean.
sure.
Yeah, you should.
This is what true friends are made for. You will find your $1,000 at the end of the day in your bank account. But on to more serious things, I want to ask you honestly, which was the first Test match or ODI match that you remember seeing, regardless of any team, and how young were you when you became an ardent cricket follower? So much so that you put up a website eventually. which has a great section on the sport.
I think I started watching cricket after 96, as in somewhere around 96. Not the World Cup, I think just after that, I guess. So, and after that, as in I kept watching it, and I'm more interested in watching the game on that day. I don't really remember much of records, as in who scored how much and how many were scored in that inning or where, as in whether in Lords or Leeds or wherever. So it's about the game and the quality of the match, which really, as in, makes me interested and glued to the game.
So, what are your earliest memories? What game was it? What team was it?
I
How
think
was
it was India-Pakistan 99 series, as in I think when we lost that match at Chennai, uh, I think Tendulkar scored a lot of
Sachin
runs.
versus Wasim Akram and the others. Sakleen
As in
also there.
it was I think Sakleen Mustaq in the later part of the inning where he got as in 2-3 wickets and we lost. I think by 16 runs or 13 runs, something like that.
Yeah, it was.
We
And,
were
that
chasing
was a
some
series.
250 odd, and we fell
Yeah,
short.
I think
if I'm not
Nayan
mistaken.
Mungia was there, Srinath got bowled, and I don't remember after that. As in Tendulkar, as in was struggling with the back pain, and after that, I think after that back pain, he stopped playing pull shot. As in after those years, I guess. Earlier, he used to pull a lot more than what he used to pull in the later part of his career.
Right. What do you think of the India-Pakistan rivalry over the years? It's a dominant course of discussion in this part of the world where three of us live. But do you think that rivalry has kind of lost its essence because Pakistan over the years in white ball cricket has become a very vulnerable side, very talented still, but very vulnerable? Or do you think the rivalry still has that force?
Rivalry is still there, but then as in we don't have enough matches. As in nowadays, as in we don't play at all unless it is an ICC event. So rivalry is going to be there, but as in I think it has lost its charm because the quality of Pakistan is not as good as in terms of international experience, I guess. As in apart from Babar Azam and nowadays Shaheen Afridi is doing pretty well, but otherwise, as in that team, as in nobody really is as classy or as consistent as, say, let's suppose we had Injamam in the earlier years. You had Akram, you had Waqar, you had Yusuf Yuhana also, as in I think Muhammad Yusuf now you can call. Yeah, he was exceptional. And before that, you had Saeed Anwar and other people like them. So,
Aditya, so obviously India and Pakistan are not playing that often. So do you think when they play in the ICC tournaments, the gap actually creates a lot of excitement between the fans?
yeah, it does. As in India, Pakistan, any day, as in everyone is glued to the TV. So everyone, as in be it from the Indian side or the Pakistani side, I mean, I think both the side, as in everyone wants their country to win. So and it's as simple as that. You don't want to win. You don't want to lose from Pakistan. Any
They're
single
going to be
day.
playing soon, right? In the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, I think
they are going to be playing.
the first match is scheduled between India and Pakistan. So
wow. I wish there's spectators allowed here.
What?
I'm saying I wish there's spectators allowed, because if it's in Dubai, it could be a mix of India and Pakistan supporters. So that'd be quite something.
That's as if to say to our viewers that you would have taken the first flight and gone to see an Indian match live, because your fetish and your excellence both are South African cricket. So Aditya, you can turn the tables and ask him anything about South Africa. You'll find a brilliant response, because I've not yet met any Indian who's so passionate and so aware of the intricacies of South African cricket, even as it witnesses, this phase of transition, which we hope is for the best. I wanted to ask you your favorite players, some players who kept you hooked onto the game outside of Team India. Any particular names there, and why?
Whom are you asking, as in Pranay or me?
You.
Okay. So I think AB de Villiers is somebody who would love to watch. I mean, you can pay to watch him. And apart from that, as in Akram is somebody I liked watching because he was simply a class apart. And nowadays, if you ask me, as in who can be the player outside India, as in it can be, as in Joe Root, you can say he's one good person, and he keeps on scoring, but I think Kane Williamson is somebody who will always score you, who will give you runs, as in, and he won't make any noise. So these are the two people I think you can watch any day because they look classy, they are elegant, and they have a cool head actually, and that's important.
You know, Aditya, speaking about Kane Williamson, it gets me to a question. How important do you think humility is in cricket?
Well, it depends on person to person. As in, if you see Kohli and if you see Kane Williamson, at the end of the day, they are scoring runs for their team. And both are totally different personalities. And even in India, if you see, if you say, Kohli, you can compare him with Tendulkar, you can say Gavaskar, you can name other people, and everyone else was humble. He's someone else. But then, I mean, as an Indian fan, you like Tendulkar, you are liking Kohli as well, as in most of the people. I mean, obviously there will be some criticism and somebody will dislike him, but as in it's about scoring runs and the way you score. And if you are getting runs from Kohli, I mean, people will like him even if he is aggressive. And if, as in, it is coming from somebody else, as in, let's suppose Kane Williamson, so as in that person will be liked as well. So it's, I mean, humility is important, but as in it's about scoring runs on the cricket field. And as a person, obviously, I will prefer somebody who has a cool head. But I don't think, as in, even, I mean, what I have heard of Kohli is not as rude as he is on the cricket field. As in, as aggressive, you can say, as in, rude will be a bad word.
Did, punch Pranay and me once. And then later on, we woke up from our dream, and then there was no point in criticizing him.
Yeah, so
that was a thing too.
You know, Aditya, honestly, I started getting scared of the finger. So that's why I told Dave that let's not discuss this because the finger is too much to handle.
This is now, the finger has changed to this because
yeah. We only do this.
We love you, BCCI, once again, as we always say.
But Aditya,
I had a sorry.
No.
So
I wanted.
Yeah. So Steve Smith and Kohli, these are two people who are always pitted against one another. But if you see in test matches, Smith right now has a much higher average than Kohli. Kohli is someone who has 27 centuries, I believe, in the longest format. Where do you think that is? That Smith has slightly the edge ahead of Kohli, even if by the barest of margins, because it's not a technique that can be coached or taught. So where is it that Smith is getting it right and perhaps Kohli isn't, where past few innings are concerned?
Well, I think Steve Smith is someone who is unconventional but very, I mean, strong with the mind. And Kohli is someone who is very aggressive, and sometimes, in trying to be aggressive, he loses his focus and throws his wicket away. That's the only difference, I would say, because a determined Kohli is better than a determined Smith, I would say, and Kohli has been doing it in all formats, and Steven Smith has not been doing it in all formats. Remember that. So, I mean, that's, I think, the basic difference, as in when you lose focus because of aggression, because sometimes being hot-headed or being too aggressive hurts. And I think even in the last test or something, Kohli wanted to make a statement, and that is, I mean, in this test also, I think first inning, he got out to Anderson, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he was trying to just dominate the opposition, if he would have given 1 hour to himself, and as Maninder Singh said, remove your ego and then go. So I think things would have been better. And this time, if you see yesterday, Kohli, what he did was he left the balls which he used to play in the first 2 tests. And so, I mean, he gave that 1 hour to the opposition, and then he started scoring runs. So that is something that is more important. So with regards to Kohli and Smith, I would say, Kohli is a better batsman, but Smith is a lot more focused, as an Australian, Australians never give up. I'm not saying that Kohli gives up, but I think that's a little edge that he has, I guess, the Australian mentality of fighting till the very end. And so, he gives the time to opposition and he gets runs eventually. So, I mean, it's about staying on the wicket. So, Kohli, some of the times, in trying to be aggressive, gets out a little earlier than what we would have liked. So, that's the only difference. But otherwise, I think Kohli is a better bat than Steven Smith or anybody, be it Root beat Williamson. I think Kohli is a little ahead of the other two because of his scores in different formats.
If BCCI की accreditation पक्का है.
100%, we are gonna get it now. We've never praised any Indian players so much that we have, because we always wanted to be a bit unbiased and focus on other players. No, but that was a brilliant answer. And see, that's the reason why I wanted Aditya to come and speak, and it's taken me quite some effort to to make him finally here. Pranay, you were going to ask something when I stopped you. Sorry.
Aditya, can I dwell a bit on Rahane? Do you think Ajinkya Rahane has something to imbibe from the way Pujara has played yesterday? Because he's also been out of form. So can he learn something from Pujara?
Being positive will always help, and Pujara also, as in he might well not give you that expression, as in that he lacks a bit of intent or something. But I mean, a positive positive Rahane would do wonders for the team also, because he's somebody who thinks about the game. And if you see, as in when Kohli was not there, as in he led the side very well. That means he's a thinking cricketer. So if
he made a century in Australia under pressure.
Yeah, 112 he made. So that was the difference basically, and that's how as in we came as in and won eventually in Australia. Obviously, the contributions of other new players mattered, but yeah, it was about Rahane as well, leading without Kohli and without any of the 4 fast bowlers that we have now. As in that was a tremendous job. And Rahane, I think Rahane needs a little bit of confidence of the captain also. As in, what I feel is a captain can make you perform and go a little extra. And I think some of the statements that we see from the team management that you have to play in certain way, as in that has hurt, I guess, even Pujara, or maybe you can say even Rahane, because maybe he hasn't got 100 for a long time, but he has been contributing, and if you give him the responsibility, I guess he will be doing a lot better than what he's doing. I mean, he is the vice captain, but sometimes I feel he doesn't act like a one, as in when Kohli is around. So that is the difference, I guess. And also I would say, as in with Pujara and Rahane debate, as in it's something out of the way, and Pujara has scored a 91 at number 3. When we go abroad, as in we see as in the changes in bowling department, but we don't see any changes in the batting department. As in, what I mean to say is Pujara is a very good player of spin bowling, but he's always vulnerable to that in-swinging delivery. And nowadays we have seen him getting out to the outswingers as well. So that means he's not very decisive, except for the yesterday's inning. So I think as in we are doing this we are discussing this on a bad day, I would say. But when we are touring abroad, as in we can push Pujara maybe a slot below, and he would do a lot better than what he's doing at the moment, because he has got the temperament. It's about those 1 or 2 balls that he gets LBW2, and which is concerning him a lot. So I think swapping Rahane and Pujara at 3 and 5 would have done a little better, because Rahane had an excellent record. I mean, he has 100 even in Australia. So, I mean, last time around when we went. So, I think that move can do can do Team India a little good than what we are getting it at the moment, because I think that swapping, especially when we are touring abroad, will be better. And we can actually do these changes whenever we are touring abroad, because some minor adjustments are needed. Because tactically, I guess, as in Kohli, some of the time gets it wrong. As in, it will be wrong to say, if India wins or something, because everyone will be criticizing me for sure. But as in Ishant Sharma of the 4 pacer, if you see,
he's hardly looked
he's last in the. He hasn't bowled that.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hello?
Yeah. We missed you there, Aditya, at least I did. You were talking about Ishant Sharma.
Yeah. So, am I audible now?
Yeah. Totally.
What I was trying to say, as in tactically, as in I tried to discuss a little bit about India's bowling also, as in and the tactics used by India. So we are playing 4 pacers, all right. Let's suppose, I think first of all, I don't agree to this idea of playing 4 fast bowler here, because the pitch suggested that there will be spin on day 4 and day 5. And Ashwin being the best bowler of your side, as in he should have played. But okay, as in you are playing 4 pacers, and then if you are playing 4 pacers, as in what is your pecking order? As in Bumrah, I think is the best, I guess, and then you have Shami and Siraj, and then I guess it is Ishant, because if you had to drop one pacer, you would have dropped Ishant and played maybe Ashwin or Shardul Thakur. But in team selection, I would say I disagreed with obviously Ashwin and Ishant selection. But if you have selected him, as in you are giving him the first over, as in over, say as in Bumrah or Shami, so that I guess is a little bit of a mistake, because he gave you those. I mean, he leaked the runs, and even on the day, I mean, next day, as in next session, we started with Ishant again. I don't know what's the thought behind that, but I guess when you have Bumrah and Shami, I think they should be the one who should be starting, and that should be followed, because first 20 balls a batsman faces is a lot more important. So that is where I guess we are getting it wrong. So, and I don't know this debate of Ashwin versus Ishant. I think Ashwin any day should have played in this series, because if Ashwin was there, as in we would have, I mean, ask him to bowl even the seam bowling, he can do that, I guess.
Well said. Yeah. Well said. Well said. I think personally, it's just an observation of mine. So Bumrah has been fantastic across formats. There's little doubt about that. But I think sooner or later he'll be figured out by at least 1 or 2 batsmen. But then that's a reality check which may or may not happen. But I wanted to ask you, and I want to bring your attention back to the T20 World Cup. A lot of players who are still going to participate are on the wrong side of age. For example, if it happens that Faf is made to play, he is approaching 38. Gale is already 40. Pollard is going to touch 35. Bravo is already 37. Do you think it's a format and that level of competition where age doesn't matter because you have the powers and the broad shoulders and the experience, or do you think that youngsters should be the future? For example, let's say 50 over World Cup. A lot of people still silently say in front of the massive love for Dhoni that Pant should have been taken in the 2019 World Cup, and then Dhoni didn't have the best campaigns any which ways. So, what do you think of this upcoming T20 World Cup?
Well, I think it should be a mix and match of both, as in youngsters and experienced players, first of all. And it's about the performance. I think of all the people whom you named, I think everyone has been doing pretty good. As in, you talked about Chris Gale, we thought he's done, but he came to the IPL and scored runs. And we talked about Bravo. Bravo is still good enough to play in any side, as in because of his experience and skill set. And then you talked about whom?
I was talking about Pollard, Faf.
Pollard, I think he's having the best years of his life. As in yesterday, also he made a 50.
Yeah.
So, as in, and the opposition camp, as in fierce. I mean, let's suppose you have a Pooran, who is a Nicholas Pooran, who is a youngster, very explosive, and let's suppose you have Pollard. As in any opposition, I think at the moment would fear more of Pollard than say Nicholas Pooran at the moment also. And Pooran obviously can be better than him, because I think he's a top order bat and he has a better technique, you can say. But then Pollard has a better mind, better experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially against spinners. Like Pooran is a brilliant player of spin.
Yeah, I mean, but then the experience and the kind of threat that he poses, as in to the opposition, as in Pollard. I think every opposition will fear Pollard more than say Nicholas Pooran.
Right.
Yeah, we see 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
So, is AB de Villiers' absence going to haunt South Africa, or do you feel he should have come back? Because Pranay may already have a view on this. We wanted to know yours.
I think Pranay should give us the right knowledge about the South African cricket, because South African cricket is going through a tough time.
Aditya, if you ask me, I think AB de Villiers shouldn't be in the side for the simple reason that I haven't seen a more indecisive player than him. He's a brilliant player. He's Mr. 360. But when it comes to should I be in the team or shouldn't I be in the team, he'll just keep you hanging. So basically, purely on that, and purely giving a chance to another player who would merit being in the team in place of AB de Villiers, I think it's only fair that he doesn't come in because he can't make up his mind. And just because of his stature, that doesn't mean that if you like at the pedestal of being so great, you should be in the team. You need to be decisive. That's my point of view. I don't know what Dave thinks, but that is the way I see it.
Dave, what's your view?
My view is that I'm a Faf fan, so I would be more than happy if Faf plays at the end of the day. Definitely, if AB would have been there, would have been explosive. You know, he would have made sure that some people fake their COVID certificates to enter the stadia. He's that kind of a player who fills stadiums wherever he goes. But I want Faf to end his career on a high because I don't see that man going a long way. And it's fair also because they have got some amazing players. And had it not been for some amazing articles written by Pranay, I would have never known how big a talent Janeman Milan or Van der Dusen were. And now that these guys are in the fold, it's a young generation which is here to script their own destiny. But taking your point that, you know, it has to be a flavor of experience and exuberance. Faf's experience and his white ball records should definitely hold South Africa in good stead.
He has the highest
Pranay,
runs as any T20 captain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is Faf in the side also, as in South Africa's preliminary squad?
Unfortunately, no. So South Africa haven't announced their preliminary squad, but the thing is that he hasn't been picked for the Sri Lanka series. So I don't see him being in the squad. No, he hasn't. But having said that, Bavuma and Boucher insist that they are in conversation with Faf. So, you know, typically in the last 1.5 years, now South Africa loves to give you mixed signals. You never know what they're up to, but they'll never commit to something and they'll never not commit to something also. So we'll only know once the squad is announced. As Dave rightly said, I would also love to see him in the squad here because IPL ka bhi experience hoega and plus Faf is Faf here. And there's no
Faf
Faf
has to
about
be
him.
there.
It's all facts.
Yeah, Faf should be there, as in he's too
He
good
should
to
be,
be
yeah.
left out.
In fact, Aditya, I would
And
think even Morris should be there, but that's what I think.
Yeah, of course, man. Chris Morris, you never know with him, yeah.
Imran
What
Tahir is also
doing?
rocking the 100. He rocked the 100. अब वो CPL में भी खेल
Also,
रहा है.
his hairstyle, he's rocking it.
I think, I mean, all three of them should be there, as in Chris Morris, but then international performances does not, as in, merit his selection. What do you say?
But Aditya, the thing is, T20 में अगर वो चल गया ना, if he clicks, then he can take the game away from any opposition. So I wouldn't see उसने past में इतना क्या किया है, but I would definitely think that he's the best all-rounder when it comes to at least the shortest format of the game in South Africa. So I'm a big fan of Wayne Pretorius also, but I would think that Chris Morris should be in the team.
He can hit the huge sixes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
then
Aditya,
I don't
let me
see, as in, I
put-
don't,
Let me put you on the spot. Who do you think is winning the T20 World Cup? And I
As
need
an
one
Indian,
team.
I would-
I don't need three options.
I think India should be there because Indian team is pretty good. So I will go
Yeah,
for
definitely
India.
in the semi-finals for sure.
But the problem is, as in, I say, as in these matches, we need, as in, at least for the semi-finals and finals, you should change the captain then. And then luck will be in our favor.
Yeah, actually, free captains, free Kohli of the pressure of captaincy, because tactically, probably, not probably, definitely by match-winning experience for even if it's Mumbai Indians or what, Rohit Sharma is the man to go. But that's just personal take. With all due respect to Virat's fans who might be filling up my spam folder with abuses, but it's fine. They are Virat fans at the end of the day. My last question, and we have very few minutes left. Your all-time favorite cricketing memory and your one favorite cricket player across decades.
I think Dhoni it should be, and one memory as in 2003 World Cup.
2003 World Cup.
Obviously,
What
as in, that
about
was a very nice World Cup apart from as in the final. But I think 2003 World Cup, I think I will remember fondly.
Pranay, would you remember the 2003 World Cup? And what about it?
Definitely not South Africa for sure. But I was really impressed with Ganguly's captaincy. Joe Tendulkar and Sehwag took the game away from Pakistan, if you remember. We were chasing
Yeah.
a steep target. And that was
271.
quite, yeah, that was quite
73.
fantastic. And obviously, needless to say, the one man who struck a partnership with Yuvraj Singh to get us home, Rahul Dravid,
Yuvraj,
The wall. Yes.
the wall.
Yes.
आपको देव को हंसाना हो ना, आप दो शब्द वॉल पे भी बोल दो.
yeah, Dravid ka there is no match. So as in,
Thank you. Thank you.
no Rahul can match Dravid.
Wow, what a line. What a line. Look at that, guys. Superb. Also, one of the most underrated memories of 2003 is not underrated as such. Brian Lara opening the campaign with a century against the Proteas, including a one-handed six over mid-wicket of Klusner or maybe Callis, I don't remember. But what a knock that was.
I'll see you, Dev. Bye.
That's the end of our friendship. Anything anti-South African. But it's been brilliant to have you on the show, Aditya. Thank you
It
for
was my pleasure.
thank you for being anti-Kimi in terms of expression today and speaking up. And there were some great insights. You really are a cerebral person, and you really focus hard on the game, and your observations are brilliant and impeccable. Guys, thank you for listening to us, and don't mind the banter, because that's what makes Correct Point what it is, because we want to catch your attention at that point. And we'll be back soon with more fun episodes. And thank you, Pranay, for hosting this with me today.
Thank you, Dev. Thank you, Aditya, for being on the show. So, guys,
Yeah,
please
thanks a lot.
like, share, subscribe. And till we get another podcast, this is Dev Tyagi, Aditya, and Pranay Ranga signing off. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya.
Bye.
Thank you, Dev.
Thanks a lot.